Hi, my name is Judith. I'm 53 and I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I am the host of the Intuitive Body Foodie Network, and today I'd like to talk to you about Kiss My Keto MCT oil just because of how it's changed my life. In particular, the brain food C8. I use this in a lot of my recipes, and I'd like to share my story. My reason to go keto was a rather intuitive one. Um, I've never really struggled with weight, although I've had two very poignant times in my life when I've really put on excess weight and had to find strategies to get rid of that. The first time I was 26, I had just given birth to my daughter. And I'm sorry to say, but I went on the Slimfast diet, which is so anti-keto, right? I mean, it's a high sugar diet. And I really messed up my gut. And it seems that since then, I have been trying to recover from the damage of that and the damage of antibiotics and a bunch of other things. I did lose the weight quite successfully. Um, I was doing intermittent fasting at that time as well. And then the second time I gained weight was around the time that I was 50. I had been doing some energy healing workshops and being incredibly clairsentient. I, and an empath, I take on everybody's energy. The problem is I don't know what's mine and what's theirs. And so the way that that manifested in my life is that I had a lot of people around me that were hungry for food and hungry for a lot of other things. And I was eating on their behalf. I've been vegan vegetarian for almost 30 years. I switched to eating meat in the autumn of 2017 just due to chronic anemia. And prior to that, between the age of 50 and 52, that's when the intuitive keto came into my life. I had tried keto about 6 years earlier, and I ended up gaining weight. I had no clue what I was doing, and there wasn't the information out there that there is today. And if you haven't checked out the um, instructional guides of how to do keto on Kiss My Keto, I highly recommend it. I learned a lot from it. Keto helped a lot, as did the OMAD and intermittent fasting. It just seems to go so harmonious. I was doing the high-fat diet, moderate protein, and all of my carbs were fermented, so they have very little sugar. I only recently, in the last 6 months, reintroduced MCT oil back into my diet. If you understand anything about anemia, some of the symptoms are forgetfulness, memory loss, which kind of goes with forgetfulness, lethargy, but it's not the kind of lethargy that goes away after you have a nap or after you've had something to pick you up, to eat and it gives you energy. It's a lethargy that lingers. For me, the most debilitating part of anemia was the brain fog and the can't wake up syndrome. So one of the things that I recognized with that is I would have to have, I like coffee anyway, but I would have to have my coffee in order to have mental cognition, in order to be alert, to feel awake. One of the things I would say to my husband is, just because I'm up and about and walking around, don't think I'm awake, because there was just this incredible brain fog. And that was the difference in my life with the MCT oil. The MCT oil wakes my brain in ways that I can't even explain. It just gives me that alertness and a wakefulness. and has really made a difference in my life, vastly made a difference. I didn't really have any hesitations this time around with keto. Um, I shouldn't say that. I did have a small reservation that I might regain the weight. What I discovered from the first time I tried keto to this time, the difference when I gained the weight to this time is that I was used to eating a certain amount of food. When you change from your regular diet to a keto diet, fat has a lot of calories. And that's what I was not understanding. And so I was still eating a lot of food, and I wasn't doing a lot of intermittent fasting back then. So I was actually consuming more food or calories or energy than my body actually needed. That was a huge learning curve for me, and something that I now apply in my daily life to make certain that although some people will say in the keto community that calories aren't important, to me they are. The difference between when I started the keto diet to today is I'm approximately 25 pounds less. So keto works for me, and I pretty much, I'm not going to say I've done every diet, but I've done a lot of different diets. I've done your typical standard American diet. I've been vegan, a raw vegan, a fruitarian, a pure vegetarian, just eating dairy, a lacto-ovo vegetarian, a pescatarian, which eats fish, and I don't know what they call the vegetarian that eats chicken, fish, dairy, and eggs and just doesn't eat red meat, but I did that too. So I've done a lot of different diets. I did the Slimfast, I've done Zone, I've done Atkins. I've done a lot of diets. The only one I think I haven't done is Weight Watchers. For me, diet doesn't work unless it becomes a lifestyle. And that is what keto is for me. It is a lifestyle. And as is the intermittent fasting and the OMAD or the 2MAD, which is 2 meals a day as opposed to 1 meal a day. And sometimes doing long extended fasting. That is my lifestyle. And keto was a nice resonance to my lifestyle. And I think that's why it works so well for me. And if you haven't tried it, or maybe if you haven't tried it, try it. That's all I'm going to say. And if you are on a keto diet and like me, maybe you gained weight, even though people say calories aren't important, maybe do look at your portions and the calories and how much are you eating through the day, because in all those diets that and I think of diet as just food for the body, in all those diets that I undertook, went on, the one common denominator was that I've learned for my particular body is if I eat too much, I gain weight. It's that simple. It doesn't matter what diet it is. And if I eat less, then I don't. I can maintain. And then if I reduce, that's when I see the weight loss. And that's part of what fasting, the intermittent fasting with keto is all about. It's about reducing the full amount of calories that you consume. So yeah, I give ketos 2 thumbs up. The interesting thing is, I think I started the first 14 years of my life on keto and OMAD because growing up, we didn't have a lot of money. Well, my folks didn't. And we had 1 meal a day, and that was dinner. And it was a nice piece of meat. It was a cooled potato and a little bit of vegetable. And fat was in the actual meat. So yeah, I mean, it was almost an organic thing for me. So I almost feel like I'm going back to my roots by being on keto. That's how it works for me. And the other product that I um, have that I've only used once is the Ketone Strips. And um, do your research on this is all I'm going to say. They're great tool. This is a great tool. I didn't know what I was doing. When because I'm intuitive, I do everything intuitively first. I'm the person that goes to IKEA, buys the product, builds it, and then reads the instructions. I would highly recommend you read the instructions first and then buy the product so that you know how to use it. Because I didn't know how to use this when I first got it. Now I do, and it's nice because I can, uh, if I've decided, so Thanksgiving or Christmas came up, right? And I ate a little more carbs than I normally would. So it was nice to know, to be able to measure that, whether I was in ketosis or not. So thumbs up to Kiss My Keto for all their support and for their incredible products because it really has made a difference in my life. Thanks for watching.